It's Tuesday, and that means some really cool offerings have just hit the book market courtesy of Marvel Comics. We got 3 to go over today, so let's jump right in. Okay, so like I said in the intro, it's New Marvel Tuesday. Every Tuesday, new trade paperbacks hit the book market, courtesy of Marvel Comics and plenty of other publishers, but we're talking about Marvel today. By the way, huge thanks to Marvel for sending these for me to preview for you guys. Now, overall, I think there were 6 different books that hit the market today. I'm going to talk about 3 of them that I personally was invested in. And so we're going to start things off with Dead X-Men, but we've also got this Fantastic Four Epic Collection and the Spider-Man Deadpool Modern Era Epic Collection. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. I will say I'm starting with Dead X-Men because it's the most recent story and also has the most potential for spoilers. And so if you want to skip around using the chapters, feel free to do so. But Dead X-Men actually is a 4-issue miniseries that came out earlier this year. It's written by Steve Fox. Art duties are handled mostly by Bernard Chang, but there is also art here by Vincenzo Caratu, Peter Wynn, Jonas Scarf, Lynette Yoshi, Javier Pina, David Baldeon, and Frank Martin. Some of those are inkers and letterers that I just named. But the point is there are different artists in this. It's not all Bernard Chang, but all the art is dope. I said this is the most potential for spoilers. I wasn't lying. If you have not read this, Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10, you're going to be a little lost as to what's happening with the Dead X-Men. And if you haven't been keeping up with the whole Fall of X era of Krakoa, you're also going to be a bit confused. I'm talking Sins of Sinister, the most recent Hellfire Gala, AXE Judgment Day to a certain extent. I mean, there's a lot, honestly, that has led up to this, but Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10, and this to a lesser degree, is the culmination of 5 years of storytelling. This kind of tells a specific story to supplement this, but you need this. If you're trying to keep up with the Krakoa era, this is how it ended. So, Dead X-Men. There's not a lot I can say about this book without spoiling it, which is why we're talking about it first. But at the last Hellfire Gala, Orcus mounted an offensive against the mutants, and let's just say a whole lot of mutants died, including this team right here. Prodigy, Frenzy, Jubilee, Dazzler, and Cannonball had just been elected to be new X-Men, and they all died. Just, it's crazy. And so they've been resurrected because, of course, this is the Krakoa era. So they've been resurrected, and immediately they've been given marching orders. What are their marching orders? Who are they getting them from? I'll let you read to find out. What I will say, though, is that this is basically to be read directly alongside the Rise of the Powers of 10. So if you know anything about the Powers of 10 initially, it's all about the different lives of Moira McTaggart and traveling along them, trying to sort of get clues, get information about the best way to carry out mutant life in the Krakoa age. And this is kind of the same thing. The Rise of the Powers of 10 was also bouncing around Moira's lives. This is bouncing around Moira's lives in a different way. So in the Rise of the Powers of 10, we learned that Charles Xavier has his own plan to stop Moira from going evil like she did some months ago, a couple years ago in publishing, actually. And basically these Dead X-Men, it's a fun team name, but the Dead X-Men have their own way that they think they can get Moira to go good. And so let's just say this gives a lot of context to Moira's lives, how she became so radicalized and evil. And I think it actually gives some much needed context, because I think reading this, I didn't read this series as it was coming out in singles. I felt like there were just too many books coming out. But reading the Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10, it just felt like things were not given the opportunity to linger as they should. We weren't able to kind of slowly ramp up. It was just full speed ahead, and I felt like things lacked context. So this helps to pad that context. I do still wish that the whole Fall of X era could have taken place over like maybe, I don't know, 3 to 4 more months of publishing time. But we had to rush this stuff out of the way to make way for the current era that we're in, the From the Ashes, A New Beginning. So this, like I said, does a great job of kind of explaining Moira, not necessarily helping you to sympathize with Moira more, but it gives you more context through which to view her character as well as how the events of the Rise of the Powers of 10 played out. Also, by the way, it gives you really cool moments with each of these team members. I think my favorite in this book is Prodigy, and I hadn't even been familiar with Prodigy before. So that's pretty cool. So that is Dead X-Men. Issues 1 through 4 does have a bit of a cover gallery back here as well. So check that out. New from Marvel this week. And now let's get into these epic collections. Next up is the Fantastic Four, Counter Earth Must Die. This is volume 10 of the Fantastic Four epic collections, written by Roy Thomas and Len Wein, Sal and John Buscema serving as artists, as well as George Perez, which is really cool. Apparently, this is some of his earliest work. This collects Fantastic Four issues 168 to 191, Fantastic Four Annual 11, and Marvel 2-in-1 issue 20, and the first Marvel 2-in-1 Annual. Cover price on this one is $49.99. But this endeavors to bring you some of the greatest Fantastic Four stories of the 1970s, which is cool. Now, the way I view these epic collections is just as a sort of time capsule, a history lesson. Oh, shout out to Luke Cage. I view this as like a time capsule, a sort of history lesson, because I wasn't born in the 70s. And I haven't read back that far. Man, I'm so glad Luke Cage, Power Man, got a new costume. Like, I get it. It's cool. This art is awesome, by the way. As someone who grew up in like the modern era, I can appreciate, like I grew up when I was reading comics, like as a kid, everything was like extra line work. It was like super bodacious. I grew up like in the Image era, and even now, like in the post-Image comics era. I don't know. There's a simplicity here that it doesn't feel old. It feels classic. And it feels like there's just real decision making involved in every line that you see on a page. And I think that's really cool. Some of these villains look kind of kooky, like Master Man, big Aryan guy, apparently. But yeah, man, the Fantastic Four, it's funny. I was just been reading like some more modern, like Fantastic Four stories, like Ryan North's Fantastic Four right now. And every issue is sort of one-off issue. They've got like these, it's a very sci-fi heavy title right now, as I guess it always has been, considering Reed Richards is a scientist and is among the smartest men in the Marvel Universe. But it's just been really fun for me, the interactions between the family. Ben, Grimm, and the Human Torch, for one, are really fun to watch. Sue and Reed, of course, are fun to watch. And of course, now in like modern times, they got kids like Franklin and Valeria. And then Ben and Alicia have like these alien kids they adopted. So that's fun. It's also very fun to like pad time when you haven't read a book and can't really talk much about it. I really, again, this is Ron Wilson and Joe Sinat. Ron Wilson, who I just met at GalaxyCon over the summer. I say met. I actually didn't meet Ron Wilson. I walked by his table and was very surprised to find that Ron Wilson was a black man. Had no idea. And I was like, if I had known that, maybe I'd have read some of this stuff a little bit sooner. But anyway, really cool stuff. Fantastic Four Epic Collection, Volume 10. I'm very excited for George Perez artwork as well, just seeing early stuff. So again, Epic Collection, time capsule, Read it on your own leisure, as some people would say. And oh, here we go. And that's it for that. The last book that I grabbed from this week's releases is a more modern epic collection. No, it's literally what it's called. The Modern Era Epic Collection. This is Spider-Man and Deadpool, Till Death Do Us. ... This collects Spider-Man and Deadpool 15 to 16, and then issues 19 through 32. The Deadpool 28 and 29, and then Deadpool and the Mercs for Money, issues 9 and 10. This is volume 2 of the Modern Era Spider-Man and Deadpool Epic Collections, which means I need to go out and find it volume 1 somewhere. But really fun stuff. Let's see who's in here. Does it list creators right here? Not on the back, so we'll have to take a look at them on the front. So, okay, no table of contents. Got it. Well, we're just gonna have to read straight through then, aren't we? A little Deadpool art by Irene Lee. So, slapstick comedy. I mean, obviously Deadpool is the king of it. This is from a run that's basically like right before I got into comics. I started reading comics in 2019. That Spider-Man looks really good. So that's really cool. I'm excited to get into this. Like I said this in a different video, but I was talking about how I feel that these thick trades, specifically like these epic collections, are a really good value. Probably one of the best values in comics. I know we're talking a lot about like the sort of digest size comics that publishers are putting out. And I think those are great for newer readers. People who have not been in the comic hobby before, people that might stumble across them in a bookstore or like in an airport bookstore or something like that. Or even like at Target, because I've seen some of those compact comics at Target. Spidey, Deadpool. Some of these covers are awesome. No more jokes. Okay, sure. But I think these epic collections, they got a few things over those compact comics. One is the form factor. Like, this is bigger. This is full-size comic art, like at the same size it would have been when you read it in single issues. So there's that. But also these collect a lot more story. Usually somewhere between like 20 and 30 issues are in one of these. And that's pretty cool. I just said 20 or 30 issues. Let me just see if that's actually the case. 15 to 32, that's 15 issues. And then 28 and 29. Yeah, so close to 20 issues in here, which is cool. So if you've already been accustomed to reading comics, if you know which characters you like, then grabbing these epic collections are a cool way to read all of the stories featuring a character and to read them in the initial publishing order. And then sometimes in the event of like crossovers, like it's all in the regular reading order of that crossover. I, for one, have never seen a Spider-Man Deadpool book. There was, Marvel did a free Marvel must-haves thing at my local comic shop, and there was a free Spider-Man and Deadpool issue in there. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was the first issues that were in this book specifically. So good on Marvel for, marketing their stuff so that people will be interested. But anyway, cool stuff. We got appearances from Kraven the Hunter in here. The whole Avengers there in the background. This looks interesting. I might have to put this one higher up on the reading list. Really like the art styles in here. A lot of different artists, a lot of different stories in here. So that's pretty dope. And that's it. Those are the 3 Marvel trade paperbacks that I grabbed for reading this week. Let me know though. There were a few books that came out this week from Marvel. Let me know which of those that you were interested in. Where did I just put my dead X-Men? Found it. So these are the 3 books that I grabbed to read from Marvel this week. Let me know which books you grabbed, what you're most excited about, maybe curious about from this overview. And I'll see you guys in another one real soon. Till then, stay safe. stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.